Hey guys, it's Caleb with White Metal Games here, and it's time for another studio update this morning. I've been getting back in the swing of studio updates, and so far they've been going pretty good. So I wanted to show you guys what we've been working on in the studio this week. First off, we worked on a new setup for our lighting display. I found that the old lighting display was a little tricky to navigate, and I wanted something with a more open concept and with a larger base. So what we did was we basically assembled sort of a wooden stage where I could mount lights to the front of this thing. You can see here that there's a little bit of a divide where I can actually clip lights on. The light rig itself hangs from the ceiling. I got some chains rigged up there, and so it comes about I don't know, 20 feet down or so, with some power strips for the lights. The lights themselves are on this PVC pipe rig, so they can be maneuvered around. Right now I've got kind of just a steady flow of light. The goal with this is to create an even disbursement of light across models so that I don't have to use my flash as much. That way models can sort of just be represented naturally without any sort of spotty effect. As you can see here, I've also got a backdrop I just created. This is sort of a starry night backdrop. I'm going to be creating a few of these, but this is the first one I did. I think it came out pretty good. What's cool about this is this was all done with spray paint and just, for the stars, just white flicking of a brush. So actually that came out pretty good considering how little effort actually went into making that. So for one of the backdrop pieces, we're going to be using this obviously for starry skies, but we're going to be creating sort of a warp gate background. This is sort of some of the pieces I've assembled for it. Obviously it's not built yet, but these are just some of the what you can sort of see is how it's going to come together. This is going to kind of be like a Stargate-ish warp gate. So once that's built, that will rest behind or in front of the backdrop, and that will sort of create an area where models can be positioned, that sort of thing. So look for that coming up soon. I'm really excited about being able to put models in a really nice background. Here's the Tyranid Knight, which is a work in progress. Obviously we've layered on the red at this point. We applied several layers of red to create sort of a higher raised tone and a lower darker tone in the recesses. Also for the base we went ahead and did the base work. On the Rhino hull chassis piece, just to sort of show some dominance there, we picked an alternate color, so we picked a blue. Because that really clashes nicely against the red, and I think that's going to look really good when the model's finished up. So yeah, he looks pretty sharp. You can see he's coming along there. The client asked us to reposition his right arm a little bit, so we basically repositioned the wrist a little bit to make the claw more facing forward. Resident painter John Elbro has returned some of the miniatures that we sent him to paint a few months ago. So this is just sort of a preview shot to kind of give you a general idea what's going on here. Obviously we haven't photographed these yet because the backdrop is being worked on, but you can kind of see here some of the detail work. Just generally. John does a really good job, and he's an excellent painter. I'm very happy to have him on staff. John really doesn't do client commissions per se. Mostly he just does housework. And it's because his schedule is not conducive to painting for clients. Most of the time his orders take a little while to get to them, but the quality, as you can see, is second to none. It's excellent quality. So we're very excited whenever he comes up with something new. So these all look good. Those are going to be photographed and then they'll be sold at auction. Here's the base for the new Mother Superior, i.e. Adeptus Cerritus Knight. So as you can see, it's a Demon Prince kind of spread out and fawned out. And really I wanted to keep it something very, very nice and neutral because I want him to clash tonally against the Mother Superior figure. She's all in red, so I went with grays for this. So just grays and highlights, and then the shoulder pads and the metallic work still has to be done, of course. But I think for grays and highlights, considering that's all just airbrush, it's not bad at all. This is something for another time, but we've been working on an orc knight for a little bit. So that's coming along. It's still a work in progress, but you can kind of see the basic work there. Let's see if you can get down low. You can kind of see a lot of the different orky bits we've been using to cover up all the plates. And you can see the little grot gunner up here, who I'm using to count as the heavy stubber. I like this model a lot. I think it's a lot of fun. I think obviously it's still a work in progress. It's not quite orky enough yet, so I've got to do some work to orcify it a bit more. Let's see. All right, the Mother Superior Knight, you can see that's coming along pretty well. We worked a lot last week to create highlights and tones. So you can see here that it shows up pretty well on this camera. You can see all the different highlights. So that's about 3 or 4 different layers of red laid down to create some nice neutral highlights, or natural highlights, not neutral highlights. And now we have to go in and do the detail work. Just for fun on this model, because it has this big massive sword, we're going to, I've seen this technique online where they do basically a glint effect on the blade where light is sort of glinting on it. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm about halfway through the glints, so I have to add a few more highlights. But once that's done, that's going to look really, really sharp. So that's coming up. Never done that before, so that was a nice new thing. The Orky Stompa Big Mech project is coming along real well. I finally got the assembly done this weekend, and all of the bits have now been magnetized, and it is ready for primer. As you can see here, here's the head. So now that's the regular head, and then the eyepiece actually comes off. This model is just a beast, by the way. I don't know if I will ever do one of these again, but it was certainly fun to do one time. So the eyepiece here actually comes off, and then you can swap it with this bit, and that goes like that. And then he's got his Big Mac Zappa up there. And then you've got all these other little bits down here. You've got let's see, you got the regular chain sword arm. You have this massive claw, which I think you can kind of see right there. I've got some pictures on the Facebook page. That was quite an effort to figure out how to magnetize that to get on there. Then you've got the def cannon, the big Gatler gun, the stomach cannon, all the different missiles and small options. You've got a grot rigger here, so that way if the client wants to count as a grot rigger, then they can just add this little model to one of the magnet points. We've got a couple on there. And then the lift to drop arm, this is one of my favorite bits. So if I can't get it off of there. This is a crazy conglomeration of bits and pieces that all came together to create this one very, very cool arm that magnetizes very, very well, actually. So yeah, and so those are all ready to go, and those are ready for paint. Okay, and let's see what else we got. This is for a long-term project. This is not a client project. This is on speculation. We've been wanting to do a Soul Drinkers chapter for a little while, so we're putting together, we're starting with dessert. We're going to put together a Land Raider first. So these are some of the bits that have been assembled to sort of create this massive, very cool command vehicle that's coming up. Here is one of our other display boards. Yep, there you can see it. And see, obviously, and that's not a display board per se. It's more like, what do you call it, a backdrop. So we're working on that right now. I'm going to show you one other thing for a client we got coming up. This is our paint station we have set up in the living room, so my wife and I can enjoy each other's company. And so for this client, he's got some historicals we're doing, and it's sort of the armies of Ivan the Terrible. He sent us this color guide. One of the things I really liked about this guide was that it's got some great pictures in here. And it really shows some of the vibrantness of the colors that these guys wore. Let me see if I can't do this with one hand. Yeah, see? Now it's kind of hard to see, but there you go. Lots of oranges, blues, reds, greens, yellows, just tons of vibrancy. So what we're going to do is we started with a brown base coat, and we're going to be layering on all the base colors. So here you can see some of the blue's been laid on. For some of the other guys, you can see combinations of reds and oranges, that sort of stuff. So we're doing a lot of really vibrant hues here to make them seem very vibrant. And then once that's all done, we'll go back in and do a little bit of detail work. So yeah, this is a level 1 project, which is the lowest level of painting we do. And traditionally we only do that for clients that request it. Normally it's for armies that are for figures that they don't use on a regular basis. They use it on a very small, limited basis. So they don't need them to look that great. So the price on that is lower than it would be for our traditional miniatures, our traditional housework. But yeah, so those are actually, I think, going to pop when they're done, or at least pop as much as they can at level 1. So that's it for now. That's our video update for the week. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Put your minis where your mouth is. Have a good morning.